And we're at it again with another drift tire test by D-Corp, presented by the great guys over at Track Day Direct. Today we're about to start our 10-minute tire test for the Sailun Atrezzo SVA1. We are, of course, at USA Motorsports Raceway with the help of Club FR. You'll also notice that this year we have a new graphic for the lap timer. I've added a lap counter. This tire, the Sailun Atrezzo SVA1, is a 255/35/18 mounted on my 18 by 10.5 wheel. It's a little bit of a stretch, but nothing crazy. And I'll tell you, after this first lap, I was immediately very excited and very impressed. I noticed on my first lap that I was able to drive in a very normal, comfortable way with this tire. It felt familiar, it felt consistent, the grip was there, so I was excited to drive another 10 minutes. It's important to point out that before we do this 10-minute tire test, we also have a standardized protocol for heat cycling the tire. Heat cycling a tire before you go and use them on track can noticeably decrease tire life and decrease your risk of chunking or delamination of that tire. So we do a 60-second figure 8 followed by a 1-hour cool down until the tire gets back down to ambient temperatures. And this makes a big difference in how these tires react. There are many different ways to heat cycle a tire, but for this simple test, we keep it quick, we keep it realistic for what most grassroots drivers are going to be able to achieve in a track day. At this point on lap 4 and 3 minutes of driving, some tires you will notice a decrease in grip levels as they overheat and become kind of like a greasy, slippery rubber contact patch. I did not feel these at all. You can see I kind of clutch kicked and aggressively transitioned there. It held it. It felt great. My engine temperatures were pretty hot, so we're going to follow this up with a full cool down lap coming up here on the 5th lap. On these cool down laps, I do try to drive a little bit aggressively in a grip fashion so that I can try to feel out the front to rear balance. On the front, I'm running a 235/17 Kenda KR20 200 treadwear. It was very neutral, if not a little understeery, which actually I prefer for a drift setup. Flicking it into this turn right here, just full throttle, a little steering wheel input, and the car comes around and you go around the sweeper into this tight left-hander, into another very tight, you could almost call it a hairpin, but I really tried to throw it in there, flicky and hard. Unfortunately, I made a small error, so I'm going to blame myself for the spin out, not the tires. At about the halfway mark, and I'm feeling good. I'm liking the tires. I just want to keep driving. My line is very controlled through this whole thing. The tires are doing exactly what I would expect them to do. These tires were set at 35 PSI cold, which is our standard for these tests. 35 PSI seems to be a really good starting point for your average driver, so that's why we choose it. Some drivers will choose to go 45, 50 PSI. If I'm really pushing, I'll drop them down to about 20 PSI hot. After this test, I was able to do a few laps on this tire, and I did drop it down to 20 PSI cold. And They felt good on the first lap, although not quite as consistent as I had remembered. And then on the second lap, turn 2 to 3, got a little sloppy, went over an inner berm, and then my rear tire debeaded. I have my concerns that this tire can survive low tire pressures consistently. Now, I am running a 10.5 inch wide wheel and a 255 tire because unfortunately this tire isn't available in a 265 35 18. So a 255 is my only option. I'd like to give these tires a try again. Unfortunately, I'm skeptical on whether I will actually do that because I can only get a 255 and I would hate to ruin a pair of tires after only a few laps of driving with the lower tire pressures. I hope somebody else does it. I'm not the guy. Let's get to the scoring of this tire. For grip, as I've said before, a very competent tire. It's a high grip tire for the 340 treadwear rating that it's given. If you compare this to a 380 treadwear Ironman, it's in a different category, leaps and bounds better. So I'm going to give it a 7, which stands firm for this class of tire. 340 treadwear getting a 7 is respectable. For responsiveness, I like the responsiveness at 35 psi, but like I said, when I dropped the tire pressure down to 20 cold, it was a little sloppy and then debeaded on me. So I got to subtract a point for that. So we're going to go with a 7 for responsiveness. Smoke was really nice, especially as I was watching the out of car on the lower speed where my rear wheel speed was quite a bit higher than the vehicle speed. The tires just lit up and there was a wall of smoke. On a higher speed track with more power, I think these things would smoke out the place. I'm going to go with an 8. For life, we ended with an impressive 630 seconds of tread left on the tire on average. After 10 minutes with 0 signs of chunking or delamination, I'm very happy with that. With a 255 width tire, I would have hoped to see a little bit less wear out of these. So again, we're going to go with a 7, which leads this tire at a very respectable 7.787 for its class of a high performance all season in the mid 300 treadwear. Fun party tire, if you will. It could even maybe do some low level competitions in it. It'll last a long time. It's very consistent. At its price point of about $120 for a 255 35 18, it's cheaper than a lot of comparable tires. And I've also heard that it is available in some odd sizes, which may come in handy for people that run smaller sidewalls or otherwise sizes that aren't available in other tires. That's all we got today. This tire gets a big thumbs up from me. Please hit up the guys at trackdaydirect.com for your tire orders. And let me know if you have any questions about this tire. Thanks. Bye.